TV trash. Well, it's time to partake in what's becoming a tradition here on this show. Reviewing a god-awful adaptation of a beloved Christmas movie. So I've already reviewed not one, but two horrible made-for-TV sequels to the Christmas movie many in my generation grew up loving, and who knows how I have any holiday spirit remaining after dealing with those two. But sadly, Home Alone is not, well, alone in being bastardized like that. If there's a Christmas comedy out there more beloved than the original Home Alone, it would probably be National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation. Not surprising that John Hughes was behind both films. Yeah, you remember when the National Lampoon movies, you know, didn't suck. The third entry on the Griswold family series may be the most popular of all, as it became the standard bearer for perfectly encapsulating the insanity of having the entire family under one roof for the holiday season. Which is why it was the perfect idea to give it a made-for-TV sequel in 2003 that had absolutely nothing to do with the predecessor whatsoever. So break out the hard eggnog once again as we look at Christmas Vacation 2, Cousin Eddie's Island Adventure. The movie begins in suburban Chicago as if to try and make us believe that John Hughes somehow had any input whatsoever in making this movie.
And how come they call you third?
Well, I guess being smart just happened. I was named after my mom's cousin's husband, Clark Griswold II.
And enjoy that one reference to the character you all hoped to see in this thing. Yeah, you didn't actually think this movie was gonna feature Clark Griswold, did you? No! This one's all about Cousin Eddie. You know, Randy Quaid's several quarts low redneck character who's invaded the Griswold's vacation so many times you wonder why Clark hasn't taken out a restraining order on him? Yep. This is another TV spinoff starring the comic relief, because that always works so well. You just gotta love how when the title changes to the subtitle, the music just drops off as if it knows this whole thing is gonna be a disaster. So in this movie, Eddie has a job being a test subject for nuclear experiments, and this somehow doesn't turn him into a superhero, so uber lame there. Until he gets laid off in favor of the chimp he was working with because the chimp was smarter, and probably getting paid less.
Just a total flop. Let's face it.
No, Eddie! Not total.
It's true, Mom. Total. I mean, this is the sixth job Dad's lost since they foreclosed on the farm. And now he's lost out to a monkey.
At least they explain that the house they're now living in is that of Clark's now grown-up daughter Audrey, and at first I figured she must have a pretty damn good job to afford a house in the same neighborhood as the Buellers and the McAllisters and be able to provide for deadbeat relatives, but it turns out the house must have been from the same real estate agent that sold to Tom Hanks and Shelley Long. Really, how is this joke supposed to play on Eddie when it's not even his house? Is it because all the toxic waste that was pumped into him gave him bad luck powers? This movie isn't even 5 minutes in, and that's what it's got me thinking about. Eddie goes back to the lab to beg for his job back, but when the monkey bites him in the ass, the company offers to compensate him by giving him an all-expense-paid trip to a South Pacific island.
But you didn't get your job back. They kept the monkey.
Well, Roy had a contract. Ironclad.
You lost another job, and you and the monkey were the only ones who applied for the job.
Damn it, kid! Pointing out character stupidity is my job! So, we're looking at a family vacation movie centered around a struggling father desperately trying to please his negative-minded child. Congrats! You're only going and ripping off RV! Thanks for reminding me of one of Robin Williams' lesser movies. That's the Christmas present I was hoping for!
Catherine? Cousin Eddie? I'm gonna kill myself. Daniel and I, we broke up. It's over. The great love of my life, and it's over. I will never find true love again.
Crap in heaven, she's gonna be in this whole movie, isn't she? Yep, this is Audrey Griswold, and I will give the movie credit for bringing back Dana Barron from the original Vacation movie to play her here, but it doesn't help that she's now a grown woman and acts like she's prepubescent.
But Audrey, if you were so great together, why'd you break up?
Oh. Found out he was married.
And don't ask me what age she's supposed to be. This character's had her actor and timeline changed so much in this movie series, you'd think it was a soap opera. So naturally, she goes with Eddie and family, along with Uncle... No!
Uncle Nick! This is a surprise. What are you doing here?
Merry Christmas. I came here to die. Now can I come in and die sitting down?
Ed! Really, Ed? Why? Why do you keep agreeing to be in these movies? You were Lou Grant. You were J. Jonah Jameson. You were Hudson the freaking Gargoyle. Did you see Abe Vigoda do Good Burger and have since tried to prove that you can do even lower? And yeah, this character's entire shtick is that he's a perverted old man. Exactly the type of character Lou Grant would throw through a window somewhere.
Got room for this? Sure.
Homeless when they return. And then we get this joke about how they're all able to move to the front of the line at the airport because of the dog farting. Because it wouldn't be a National Lampoon movie after the turn of the century without toilet humor. And if you're someone who wasn't depressed about Ed Asner being in this movie, here's Eric Idle for ya! And guess what his purpose in the film is?
He's English. I understood every word he said.
This part of the movie is beyond padding, as not only do we get jokes about this security guard dressed as Santa that have no impact on the plot whatsoever, we then get a 2-minute sketch on the plane of Eddie being Eddie, Audrey crying more about her breakup, and... seriously, everyone, if you can get your hands on this show, do it so you can see what type of character Ed Asner used to play! 3 guesses as to who he just hit, and the first 2 don't count. And guess what? That's the last we see of Eric Idle in this movie. Yep, even the running gag's half-assed in this thing. So they get to the island, we get more horrible shots of Uncle Nick being lecherous, and then we get a barbecue scene that shows why Randy Quaid should be made to wear long pants forever just so we can meet...
I bought it for lunch.
Sure, Jack, come on in. Audrey Griswold. We just arrived. Love the island, fabulous place.
Okay, less than 30 minutes before Audrey fell for another guy. Who had that in the pool? Then it's time for the island boat tour, but they find out the boat captain couldn't make it, but he says they're free to use his boat because of course a trained boat operator would allow that. Uncle Nick volunteers to operate the boat because he was in the Navy as a pilot. And then the movie gets really nuts as Eddie gets into a fishing tug-of-war with Jaws on steroids.
Uncle Nick! The boat's going backwards! Make it go forwards!
They're gonna hit the rock.
That fish was the biggest fish I ever saw.
They're gonna hit the rock.
That thing must have weighed 10,000 pounds.
They're gonna hit the rock.
That was you.
Well, they just hit the goddamn rock already!
We've run aground, but there's an island right there.
You know where we are?
I'm from Milwaukee. I don't know much about these islands.
Now, I want you all to save this in your memories because it perfectly sums up what you're watching. A family of rednecks walking onto the beach of a tropical island while Oh Come All Ye Faithful is playing. As if they needed to play that at this exact moment in order to remind us that yes, this is supposed to be a Christmas movie. For crying out loud, I'm one of those who refuses to call Die Hard a Christmas movie, and Die Hard has more to do with Christmas than this thing. I await your flaming comments about my opinions of Die Hard.
Look! The boat's drifting away!
Yeah, even the boat is giving up on this movie and just going to collect its paycheck.
Well, we got beer, got my favorite hunting dog. I could hunt for food.
Okay, one funny line in this movie, I'll give it that. You know, I originally thought this movie was going to end on some bad joke where Eddie's nuclear powers allow them to be saved. Spoiler alert, it doesn't, so they can't even get that right. So the next morning, stop showing me Randy Quaid's ass in short! I want to be able to eat at some point again in my life! Eddie proves to be a worse hunter than I am in RuneScape, and both Uncle Nick and the son spy on the tour guide bathing. You know, for Christmas time!
You know, it'll be Christmas in 3 days.
Now, with all the excitement of the shipwreck and everything, I guess I just forgot all about Christmas.
It's okay, I forgot I was watching a Christmas movie. And I'm still not sure that I really am.
Tree, no Santa.
No real food.
No eggnog.
No humor of the previous movie.
Hey, we could still have Christmas. We can have an island Christmas.
I think I'd rather have Christmas in Japan. The food they eat on that day is pretty good, I hear. Wait, this woman knows about an island Christmas when earlier she said she didn't know anything about these islands because she's actually from Milwaukee? This movie can't even get the continuity right of characters that were created just for this movie!
Come back here, you little bugger!
You know how the Coyote Roadrunner cartoons always made us cheer for the hunter, even as he always failed? Yeah, that's not really the case here. Yeah, I'm betting on the pig on this one. Congrats, Eddie, you're the luckiest SOB since David Freeze in 2011. Do your viewers even get that reference? They don't have to! And then we get another shot of how screwed they're gonna be at the end, because why the hell not? So Christmas morning comes and they exchange presents and sing carols and say their prayers, and it looks like it might be somewhat of a climax to this movie, but no! There are still more than 20 minutes to go! The house they build collapses because we have to show that Eddie's still a screw-up no matter what, and then we get this.
Eddie, you're so brave, and you have a good sense of humor. You're my hero.
Gave up at this point. Can I give up on this review?
What?
Crap! And then Aussie Aussie guy shows up thanks to the power of Deus Ex.
We've had search parties all over the South Pacific looking for you in that boat. They found the boat 300 miles from here.
Oh, you've been searching for me this whole time?
Okay, people, here's the deal. When I learned that the gist of this plot was the family getting stranded on a deserted island, I figured one of two things was going to be revealed. Either the whole thing was a plot by Eddie's former employer to try and get rid of him completely, or the island was never deserted to begin with. Guess which one it turned out to be?
Actually, I was just flying over to check out a hotel I own on the other side of the island when I saw Eddie out there on the cliff. Probably nobody thought of looking for you here. Well, it's only 10 miles. You've got to walk to my hotel.
Lame.
And even after that, this movie isn't close to over. There's this whole bit where Eddie gives Aussie guy a concussion, so he passes out in mid-flight, and thus we have to endure this whole piece where Eddie has to fly the plane that would just make Buddy Hackett and Mickey Rooney turn over in their graves.
It's more like the time that you were fishing off that bridge and reached down to tie your shoelaces and fell 50 feet into the water. Only this time we could all die.
Oh my! Oh my!
So close! So close! So the family's adventure makes the news. Uncle Nick gets back with his wife because we so wanted to see that resolved. And I guess they all decide to stay on the islands for good, including Audrey since, you know, her house was destroyed. Because Eddie turns down an offer to go back to the research lab since he gets a new job as a seaplane pilot. Because, you know, it's not like you need to go to school and undergo extensive training for that sort of thing. And the movie ends with one last attempt to make us believe it was about the holidays.
We wish you a Merry Christmas. We wish you a Merry Christmas. We wish you a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year.
Too late! This movie was painful! It's boring, it drags on, it didn't know when to stop, and saying everyone mailed in their performances would be putting it lightly! I don't know what was worse, the unfunny jokes, the terrible setting for a Christmas movie, the god-awful story structure of the third act, or the fact that I had to look at Randy Quaid's short shorts for nearly an hour! If there's another sequel to a beloved Christmas movie that's even worse than this, I don't want to see it! I said I don't want to see it, damn it! God, this year sucked! I think this might be the worst year I've ever had to deal with! Worse than when you got possessed by a merc demon? Fine, but it was still some of the worst shows I've ever had to review. Worse than when you had to review Alan Gregory? Well, it still doesn't mean a lot of good happened this year. You mean like finally getting a new place here in your old hometown? Fine, alright, I get it! I know this year has not been easy for a lot of people to get through, but if in any way what I've done here with my videos has helped give you guys laughter or any way of being distracted from everything else that's going on in the world, then I hope you've all been able to enjoy it. And that's why I'm going to try my best to keep doing this, because if my purpose in life is to endure watching horrible TV shows and rant on them for the purpose of your entertainment, if that's my contribution to the world to try and give people some levity, then I'm more than happy to keep doing it as long as I'm able to. See you next year on TV Trash.